Hello, everyone, and today I'm welcoming you to our first podcast, and this podcast of Mental Growth Network. And today topic is the role of mentors and coaches for startup founders. And leading of this podcast will be Aline Noizet, and she is a connector, a digital health advocate, mentor, and public speaker, and a really experienced professional in digital healthcare market and in startup market. So welcome.
Hi, Yi. Very happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Please tell us a few words about yourself, just for us to understand more about what are you doing, what are your expertise about, how do you see yourself?
Well, I think you did a great intro, but maybe to complement a bit. So I've been working in digital health for the past 13 years. So connecting the different actors of the ecosystem, and we really are focused on startups. That's what I've been doing all along. So working for startups or helping startups to grow, to connect with potential clients, investors, um, pharma companies. And I've been a mentor, like you said, for different accelerators for pharma companies when I was at Bayer, really supporting the startups and trying to push those innovation to the market and to the people that need them the most. So mainly healthcare professionals and patients.
Thank you. And this is what we want to talk about is the role of mentors and coaches. A lot of people think about the coaching, that coaching is life coaching sessions, yes, or it is a business coaching when you already have established business and you want to achieve higher performances. But today we want to focus on startups. As we talk about startups and business incubators and accelerators, of course, we have heard about mentorship in this field and about coaching, not so much. So let's start from some questions. And first of all, can you define what is coach, what is mentor, and how is it connected to startup industry?
Sure. So for me, a mentor is someone that knows about your industry, that can help you, that can support you, that can give you some feedback because they've been through what you're going through, or they know the field you're in. So that's one thing. They can give concrete support. And a coach, and you were mentioning like life coach before, I think it's someone that can help you, from my point of view, to work on yourself, to be a better professional, a better CEO, for instance, in a startup, to help you manage your team. Like when the team is growing, I think that's when it's especially important, to have the support of someone that will tell you, well, that's the type of profile that you should hire in your team, or you should think about that, like tips on how to communicate to make sure that there's a good synergy between the teams, etc.
Hmm. What key qualities should startup founders look for when they choosing a mentor or a coach?
So for me, the fit is the most important thing, like a coach. That's something that's very popular in the US, for instance. In the US culture, you have like coaches everywhere. In Europe, I find it a bit less, especially when you want to work with CEOs. But there's not like, go and work with that person. I work with her, she's great. Like I think you have to try that person because it's like person to person. You have really to have a feeling with that person and to make sure that the style of that person or personality actually works well with you, and you will feel comfortable and you'll get the results that you want with that person.
And when you look for a mentor or similar case?
So for mentor, now for me, yeah, also similar, but there it really depends what you need because a mentor will help you more on specific topics. So just make sure that that person has the expertise in the field that you're looking for. If you're also looking at expanding in different countries, well, look for someone who is either from that countries, who know well the country, or was experienced entering those countries so they can share the expertise and the contacts as well.
Hmm. Let's dig about this topic of mentorship a bit. I'm interested in your personal story. Did you had any chance to have a really great mentor that has a significant effect on your fortune, on your life? and when you understand, like, wow, this was the mentor, and I really feel the difference before and after. Can you tell the story?
Yeah, so maybe more coach than a mentor actually.
Hmm.
So I was lucky when I started, so 13 years ago in digital health. My boss in the startups that I was working with was, as I keep saying, was the best boss for me because our personality really matched what I was looking for, what I needed to deploy and to be at my best, really to thrive. It was really letting me space, just do it yourself. And I learned so much about myself and about the industry by being in that space, no? And then on the way, yeah, I met different people who, what I found actually useful is people who know you, who know your personality, who know your story, who've known you for years. They understand you and they can really guide you and say, no, look, you should do this because that suits you. No, you shouldn't do that because it won't work. And that makes actually a big difference. It made a big difference for me to have those people, mentor coaches on my side to to make some important decision and to come to where I am today in my career and in my life.
And when we talk about mentorship and coaching, is it nowadays common that in every accelerator, in every business incubator, there are some, or it is depending on some? And what do you think about it?
So
How
in accelerators, yes, that's really the base. Ideally, you have one person who is in charge of the team and will understand your needs, where you want to go, your roadmap, and connect you with the right people in the team. And those people they can connect you to are mentors who will really dive with you on a specific topic. So that's what I'm doing in Vision Health Pioneers, for instance, in the incubator in Germany. So
Mhm.
helping the teams on different topics based on what they need, but it can be like social media strategy, fundraising strategy, etc. So yes, I think that's very common. Maybe what's less common, and I think there's a need, is for in investors. So investors with portfolios of companies, I think they could really use with some the help of some coaches in some cases to support their CEOs, the portfolio companies.
Hmm. And what are the most common challenges you met in accelerators working with these companies? Why, when they need mentors most of all, what are most common problems?
So incubators, they are usually like early stage companies and they don't know what they don't know. And for me, it's actually the best place to be, because I can really bring them some support, um, give them some recommendations, some guidelines of things that they could do. Yeah, but also maybe,
Can you say, for example, top five most common topics people ask you to help with? Top
but
five.
really depends. In my specific case, fundraising strategy, review the pitch deck for investors, normal pitch deck, networking, how to network, and communication and social media strategy.
And how do you see the result? Do people really follow your advice or they need something else except the advice? And what is this?
So that's actually a very interesting point because for me, and what I tell the startups every time, it's like, for instance, if I do a pitch review, a deck review, I give them some recommendations, but it's a recommendation. Like they know the business better. And that's like a brainstorming between us. Like we share ideas, I share recommendation, but at the end of the day, they should do what makes sense for them. Because what's also a bit difficult for startups is that they will talk to three different people and they will have three different versions of recommendations of what they should do. So I think you as a founder take those different incomes, like insights, but at the end of the day, you know better and you will make the decision that makes the most sense for you and your business.
And is this type of relationship with coach and mentors, maybe you can tell separately about coaches and mentors. How long do you need a mentor? How long do you need a coach? Like in common, if we talk about a startup on early stages or a people in startup team, co-founders in early stages.
Well, with a mentor, through a program, it's usually based, it's like kind of short missions, I would say. You focus on something specific, then you have the tools and you can work on it yourself, no? So it can also be during the duration of the program. So I'd say, I don't know, between 6 and 9 months. But also it's aligned with where you are at the startup at the moment, And then for coaching, I think you have to set up some goals and work on those goals, but the same, they should be like a start date and a finish date. Because if you still need a coach after a long period of time, maybe then it's not efficient. You should set clear goals for yourself to work on with your coach to improve.
Mhm. And talking about relationship with coach, how to measure what you just said that maybe if you set a goal and it's not matched, it's not the right one. And is there any more measurements how to understand the effectiveness of mentorship or coaching?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think what you were saying now, you should feel comfortable with that person. You should feel that the style of the person actually worked with you. So with coaching, I think that's the thing. You choose the personality, but there's also each coach is learning like different techniques or to help you. And you also need to make sure that those techniques that the coach is using are working for you. And if not, maybe you should go and see another coach who is using other techniques. They are not all the same. And yeah, I think it's important to really set up goals for yourself and to set up a time and to reach those goals with your mentor to be
So
happy
kind
with
of
yourself.
before going to mentor or coach, you should specify for yourself, yes, what is my aim? Yeah, why do I need that? Then when I have more or less clear aim, maybe I should discuss it with coach and mentor to see if we can match. And then we have a way. And during this way, especially in the start, I can feel, do we have this kind of common culture, common understanding? And as you said, also interesting about techniques, it means that some coaches maybe use more like psychological based techniques which will help you in your self-regulation or for example developing emotional intelligence or at least your strategy thinking and logic and some other coaches can be more business oriented and help you with specific goals, yes, on your business issues. And in this case, you need to clearly understand because sometimes topic is about your knowledge, knowing the frameworks of startup business development, or sometimes it's not really connected to a startup. It's more like your personal thing happening. And of course, our personal are interacted with the business what we are doing.
Exactly,
But
because at the end of the day, you're just one person. Maybe that's something that I learned. You can't really separate the professional and the private part. It's one person. Yeah.
it's true. And do you know any like more about, can you tell us more about different types of coaches or mentors? Is there any like, I don't know, categorization, specializations of them? Or it's more like a business people or like psychology, or there are some different system. Can you tell about it more?
I'm not expert in that. Like I know what I know because I have a coach for myself, like a life coach, as you were saying, that has been helping me tremendously those past years to move along my career. But I know that in the past I did some techniques around strength, for instance, so really to identify your strength and to focus on that. And I did also at some point they do that in the companies. You can use a coach within a team to align and to identify the different strength of the team and to help organize the team better. So you can find that someone is better at strategy, someone else is better at execution. So that helps to get a better understanding and to be more efficient as a team.
By the way, maybe it's not about our topic, but I just want to ask you, what do you think? Sometimes we start with the founders and we already have clarified our roles. But for example, during the accelerator program, doing some coaching session, we understand that really this person is much better in this, and maybe they should switch. Do you think it's a normal way that it's part of research, or it's something that maybe no need to do because we already kind of signed the contract and it's irresponsible to do this way?
So do you mean in a team or
Yes, in the team. Yeah, if a team already established themselves and they see in this way, but during the accelerator, they understand that this person is really much better for this role. Even his past work experience is about different role. What to do in this case?
yeah, but you know, so what happened with startups, like when it's the beginning, the company is small and people actually doing a bit of everything, you know, you're not assigned to a proper role. And then when you see it's that the team is growing and you will identify where you're best at. And maybe, yeah, that's where maybe you started, let's say, doing like more of finance, then you will end up doing more of operation because maybe that's where your strengths are. That's where you feel more comfortable. And then you bring someone with more like the finance expertise that will focus on that part. I think that's the beauty of startups. You know, I was talking to a student the other day who wants to work in digital health. And I told her, look, like startup is the best way to do that because you can just try different things and see what you like best because you will be doing a bit of everything.
Yes, true. Now, for example, I work in venture capital fund, and we have like different projects, and this just fortune happened that I'm now doing a project for AI veterinary, and I never like imagined in my life that I can be connected to animals for different treatment, and now I'm digging in, and it's quite interesting. So yes, I can understand. You never know where this startup field will move you towards to.
So maybe next time I see you, you will tell me that you took your career to the veterinary area, no?
Digital vet, health, vet digital.
But there's great things happening in that space as well.
Yeah, it's true, and it's quite interesting because especially now we have this age where when people don't want to make new children and they have their pets as kind of a simulation of them having new children because it's less responsibility, more cheap, and other things, and still they give emotions, this kind of family feeling, and so on. So who knows? Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But let's go back to topic of found of coaches and mentors, and I would like to ask you about some red flags. Like when I start communication with coach or mentor, what type of red flags I should be aware of?
From the startup point of view, you mean?
From the person who is engaging in mentorship or engaging in
Mm,
coaching. For example, I start communication and something I should first like, this is not okay, something, this is red flag.
yeah. So maybe related to what I was saying before, if you are talking to a mentor who is telling you what to do, that would be a red flag for me
Mhm.
because you know your business best and that person, you know, the mentors, they usually like jump in like for a short amount of time. They won't really dive into the business. They can give you a recommendation, but I'm not sure they're exactly the best person to tell you what to do exactly and you need to follow by the letter what you're telling them. So that's one. And then for me, another red flag for a founder would be someone who doesn't really get your business or the decision that you've made, the area you're in, and yeah, can't really support in that way, where you don't really see the value that that person is bringing.
Mhm. And talking about it, should mentor be really from your field? For example, if we talk about healthcare project, he should be exactly from healthcare project, or it can be any business mentor, and still it can be useful. What do you think about this topic?
I
How
think
specific he should be?
a mix of the two would be ideal because you know there's like pro and cons for each one. So someone who knows your business maybe will understand better what you're trying to do, and it can bring you the network, the contact, share concrete example of what has been done in the area that you can replicate or get inspired from. But yeah, for me also the network is the most important. That would really accelerate things for you. And on the other side, someone who is not from the sector can really bring like a different perspective that you're not thought about. We talk about open in innovation. So there's innovation happening in other sectors, and they can really bring that to you. So maybe it's not directly applicable to your business, but it can be inspiring to develop like an innovative business model or to explore another side of your business, etc.
True, true. It's both ways interesting. Maybe it's nice to have both, yes, mentors.
Yeah. Well, for
And
me, the ideal option is really to have like diverse range of like maybe 2 or 3 mentors, that can really focus on different aspects. And then you pick and choose from those different mentors. You pick their brain on different aspects of your business.
true, true. Um, what are general, I don't know, pricing for mentorship or coaches? What I know that some mentors even not take money, they take something else, but do you know anything about this? What are general like exchange? How is it doing? What are the options? One is you can pay like for hourly basis. Yes, depends on experience level. And is there any other ways? How can you I don't know exchange with mentor, find your mentor?
That's a great question. Like, unfortunately, I can't really answer that question because all my experience of mentoring has been done through accelerators, or I do a lot of mentoring for free with startups. So there's no really exchange there, but that's really, I mean, I love that, and I learn a lot from those discussions as well. Maybe for me, the win-win is more the learning from them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But
So I
accelerator
don't like.
programs, they also can be paid ones, or they can take shares, for example, from the team, yes, or yeah. So mostly
Yeah.
one of these things, yes, is otherwise you pay for accelerator program as an educational program, or you share shares, or you share percent of your investment from.
Well, there are some accelerators like Vision Health Pioneers. The one in Berlin is actually supported by the Senate of Berlin. So the startups are receiving money every month to sustain themselves during the program. And that's it. They are not getting the Senate is not getting any equity in the program. So it's kind of, yeah,
So
all the
they just
benefits for them.
win the prize, and you have your mentors, kind of.
Exactly. Yeah. And you have, I think, a number of hours assigned to you per month or per the duration of the program, and you have to pick and choose and decide which mentor you want to talk to.
Hmm.
Maybe just the one thing with this Vision Health Pioneers, like you have to move to Berlin and to eventually open your company or start a company in Berlin.
Hmm.
That's the one condition.
And talking about the landscape of mentorship and coaching and startups in like these 13 years you were working, what changes can you see? What happened in last years? How is it now? Is there any tendencies about mentorship and coaching in startup world?
Well, I think we see more and more, um, because things have been evolving. I think when I started, it was a good moment because innovation was really starting in the different organization, especially in pharma companies. So like 13 years fast forward, we have people with experience who've really been doing some projects and that can share their experiences. And then we have now more like scale-ups in healthcare, companies like Kaya Health or Click Therapeutics in the US were really advanced. They have a lot of experience, and those CEOs who have been in the trenches, who've been like really doing all the work those past years, they're also like great mentors for the new companies who are coming today. So I think it's kind of easier in a way for startups today because they can really learn from all those pioneers.
Well, true. Yeah, looks like now a startup landscape is more easier to come in than before to join.
But it's also more competitive because you have more active companies, and what's very specific to healthcare, it's like it's very regulated, and sadly it's like it's a challenge for many companies, and that's not something that you have to deal with it. You need patience because it takes time,
True.
and sadly also technology is going way faster than regulation. So we have to wait for the regulation to be in place, like with AI at the moment, for instance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nobody knows how is your startup will be a lot possible to do in 1 year, yes, or it will be banned because the technology is
Yeah.
not secure. Okay, and just last question I want to ask you today is about the readiness. Like when I should contact mentor or coach, how to understand that this task is like my problem, my piece of pie, and this task is something I should connect to coach or mentor.
So usually, you have access to those mentors coaching like in the program, the incubator or accelerator program. So it means that incubator, you usually have an ID and you want to validate that ID and make like a MVP, minimal viable product out of it. So I think it's good at those early days to contact with a mentors, because that person can help you to validate your ID, to do some brainstorming with you, to ask you some questions that would make you think of your ID to decide if it's the right one or no. Like for instance, have you spoken to the final clients? Have you worked on your business model Canva? Like, what's the value proposition for that client? So that help is needed very early. I was telling you before, I do a lot of like mentoring session or like just like call with startups, or even not just entrepreneurs who have ideas, and that's like very early. They have an idea, they want to discuss the idea and what's next. So I think that support is good, because I was saying people don't know what they don't know, and that's helpful at that stage. And then you got
Or
when
in
you
any question when you feel you don't know something about business or your project, you can go to mentor or coach, kind of, yes.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But it's
Ah,
good to be open. I think that's when I was in a different accelerator program or at Bayer, something that we look at when you get people into an accelerator is how coachable those persons are. For me, coachable is like how open-minded are they, Like are they convinced by the idea that that's the only solution, the only way to do it? In that way, I'm not sure an accelerator is going to be very useful for them. But someone who is very open, who have a clear idea of what they want to do, but open to suggestions and ready to evaluate their solution based on those inputs, will make the most of an accelerator program.
true. From my experience, I also had coaches session. I noticed that it's really important sometimes to remind yourself about your previous talks. It kind of you're getting insights as if you look from yourself from like different side. And also, just when somebody asks you questions, it's really help you to make your mind clear. It's sometimes not about even getting a new knowledge. It's also about a brainstorming and using a specific frameworks to activate your own creative potential, your own clarification of what is happening in your now brain or subconscious, however you call it.
Exactly. But someone just having a coffee with someone, like a physical coffee or a virtual coffee, just talking about anything, I think it's the results of what you're describing now. It just activates like things are happening, that's when you get ideas. So you take your notebook and you write things. Oh yeah, I didn't think about that, or that's a good idea. Yeah. So that's also something very, very valuable. Yeah.
True, true. Okay, thank you so much, Aline. It was a short podcast. I know maybe some of our listeners will want to know more, so maybe we will invite Aline for different topics. And as well, you can find Aline Noizet in LinkedIn. We will provide your LinkedIn account if you have any question about your startups, or maybe if you want to join Accelerator or you see any type of partnership, please join. And of course, join our social media on LinkedIn or YouTube, Mental Growth Network. We are doing podcast, and this is our first podcast. And I'm happy to do that with Aline, because also Aline was my teacher in my master's degree in Barcelona Technology School, and she won Teacher of the Year. So you can see that good teachers want to communicate with students after the universities. So thank you so much, and see you. Keep in touch.
Well, I'm very, very honored to be your first guest. Yeah. Very good luck with the podcast, and very happy to come back another day. Thanks for the
Bye bye.
invite.
Bye bye.
Bye.